Sweet Georgia Pam. Sweet Georgia Pam. I'm not much of a singer, but I like singing the name. SweetGeorgiaPam.com is the website. There you can find a free guide we'll talk about, sign up for a newsletter, be the first to know about new things that are on the horizon for the new year. So excited for Pam. You can also DM her on social media at Sweet Georgia Pam. It's pretty easy. It's a memorable name. Sweet Georgia Pam. Hi, love. How are you?
Hi, brilliant friend. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Now, I love the fact that Pam is pretty popular on TikTok. And so we have a dream from a dreamer on TikTok.
Yay. I love TikTok. People message me all the time there or comment on my videos and they always share great dream conversations.
And we're going to use them. So again, if you want to DM her, all the social media, not just TikTok, Sweet Georgia Pam, we would love to interpret your dream. And here's the dream today. I always dream about losing my car or my car being stolen. Always same dream for years. Why? Multiple question marks after that. Why? Why?
Waking up from the dream just being like, no.
Again.
Not again. Running to check if their car is still in the driveway. This is a great one. Recurring dreams, I think we have talked about before on the podcast, but you can never talk.
We're going to bring it up over and over again because it's, it's something that is always coming up when it comes to dream work.
Yeah, these are universal experiences, right? People have recurring dreams. So again, the recurring dream is like a habit that your dreaming mind has picked up, and it is triggered by a specific fingerprint of emotions. So a specific combination of emotions. When that combination of emotions comes up in waking life, then the dreaming mind is like, oh yeah, this is how we practice dealing with that emotion. Okay. Dreaming of a car is, the way I like to describe it, is it's how you see yourself moving through life.
Oh, okay.
It's a hard protective shell that gets you from point A to point B with a specific character, splash of character. The color you choose, the kind of car you drive says something about you. So it's the way you see yourself moving through life. Things in general about cars that you can look at when a car comes up in your dream is who was driving the car. Okay. If I am driving my own car, then that denotes a sense of control of my waking life. If somebody else is driving the car, am I in the passenger seat or am I relegated to the back seat? So it tells me a little bit about my sense of control in any situation in my waking life when a car comes up.
Interesting.
So to dream of losing your car or your car being stolen is either, if I lose my car, that's on me. And me in the dream kind of represents my ego. If I lose my car, then it's a result of my own behavior that I have lost my sense of moving through life. I've lost my outer protective shell. I've lost my form of identity to the world. In fact, as soon as I said that, the next thing, the one thing that pops up for me is the way that we communicate now through text and through Zoom chats instead of in person. Yeah. That's a hard protective outer shell. So if suddenly my waking life has become more vulnerable, or I'm having more in-person contact, then I might dream of losing my car.
At the time of this taping, life is kind of getting back to normal from the pandemic for a lot of people. Some people have already been going back to regular life, and others are now starting to get into the fold. So I can see where if you've been isolated for a long time, and then all of a sudden you're going back to work, or you're going back to clubs, or you're going back to school, or whatever, and you're seeing a lot of people where that would come up. My recurring dream about cars, I didn't think about it. It's not about my car being stolen, but it's the fact that I can't see where I'm going. Oh. So my recurring dream is I'm driving, and either I don't have my glasses, I don't, because I wear glasses to drive. I don't, or the weather's bad, I can't see, I don't know where the road is. And I'm just going for it anyway and hoping I don't crash. And I wake up before I have an accident, where in the dream, I'm just sure I'm going to have an accident, but I'm just taking a chance anyway.
Wow.
I didn't think about that until, thank you, TikTok, for that, because I didn't think about that dream until you said, and I think that's the beauty of this podcast, is it probably triggers a lot of dreams for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So that means that I constantly don't know where I'm going in life, it seems.
Well, if you take the way
that's
that
not
you
a surprise.
described it almost exactly and go like, how is that a metaphor for your life, right? What you said was like, I just go for it anyway and wake up before I crash. It's like
Boy,
leap of faith. It's like a true, like being in the feeling tone of a leap of faith, of like, I'm feeling my way around, but I'm driving. So I've got some protection, but also I'm going a lot faster than I normally would if I was walking. Like all of those things can play into how you see yourself moving through life.
Well, it's also a shame too, because as I think about it with my logical mind, it's a shame I don't give myself the chance not to crash, right? It's almost like I'm taking the leap of faith and I'm being glass half or glass not full, glass half empty
Glass
about it.
Is one of the options.
I mean, come on, I'm just going to make up phrases as we go along, but
which is like barreling through life, whether or not you can see. You're just going to make up stuff. Just keep talking.
Yeah, but I'm assuming it's not going to work out where that's a reflection on me.
And there's the second part. It's the what is it connected to in waking life? And the second question is what is the commentary?
And mine is why don't I believe more in what I'm doing or where I'm going? So let's talk about the other scenario you gave. We talked about the car being stolen. I talked about not being able to
losing your car.
Losing the car.
About being
stolen. I'm sorry. Yes, let's do stolen. I'm sorry. I jumped into it. Let's talk about the stolen car, and then we're going to get to if you're in the back seat, because you mentioned that too. So all the stuff. All right. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. What I hope, my deepest desire for our listeners is that they were starting to come up with their own ideas about, oh, well, then this must mean what it means when it's stolen. I want to inspire independent and artistic thinking. That's the like,
I love it.
That's what I want people to be able to apply to their own lives, because that's what I can do now that I have this practice skill set of interpreting dreams. Okay. I just wanted to say that piece of like, dear sweet listener, I hope you were hanging on and waiting and going like, well, what about stolen? Because I think I know what it means.
Until Melissa interrupted interrupted with her can't see where she's going. So obviously I couldn't see where I was going in this conversation, but continue with the stolen dream.
Barrel on through. No, I'm just kidding. It's perfectly appropriate. So if you lose the car, that's on you. If the car is stolen, somebody has violated that protective layer for you. Somebody has, which actually makes you vulnerable at an external level instead of being vulnerable on an internal level. If it's lost, that's an internal sense of responsibility. If it's stolen, that's somebody else's responsibility.
Gotcha.
Right? For this particular dreamer who has said for years they've had this experience, then there's two. I always do two. It always comes up in twos for me, but that's whatever.
Duality.
Yes. There are two things that I would ask this dreamer if we were in session. The first is, when can you remember this first occurring? And I do that for all recurring dreams. So usually people will either say, again, there's two responses to that. Now I've lost the other thing. Okay.
She's human. She's human.
It'll come back. But people usually will say either, I've had it my whole life. It's a general pattern for me. And that's what that means, right? If you've had this recurring dream as far back as you can remember, you can't ever remember not having this dream at some point, recurring, then that's sort of a pattern of your psyche. It might be a family pattern. Like you inherited this pattern of beliefs or this pattern of emotional fingerprint way of experiencing things.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll say, I don't know, I was about 20. And then I will say, great, what happened when you were 20 that might be in play right now that has that same emotional fingerprint?
Right.
And to get to the emotional fingerprint, just to keep going on that for a second.
Sure.
The first place to go with interpretation is, tell me about your feelings inside the dream. And the more people can dial in what they were feeling or the combination of feelings over the course of the dream, the more helpful that's going to be. When I'm working with somebody, we'll start with, as you go through that dream, what were you feeling inside the dream? And they'll say, well, and you can hear them start to try to dial it in specifically. It wasn't quite anger. It was resentment.
Mm-hmm.
So resentment, that's where we would start. So let's keep an eye out in your waking life as we're talking through the symbolism for some sense of resentment, not anger, but resentment. the emotion tone probably won't change with a recurring dream because it is that emotional fingerprint that is triggering the experience. So it can help you figure out what it's connected to. And
it all goes back to everything we say is how dreams help you learn about yourself.
Yes.
It's not just some fun party game. Like it's truly, I mean, it's like you said, you want to be dedicated to helping people have independent thought about what they're experiencing.
And knowing that you can gain some insight on yourself with doing some personal reflection on this. It was a parlor trick for me in the beginning. I was like, I know what car means. I'm a walking dictionary. That got me a lot of attention, especially at parties. Like, we would stand in the kitchen and people would just line up to come tell me their dreams. It was delightful until that
just maybe I'm writing down, Pam, that we may have to do appearances where like we can do just that. Anyway, continue.
As long as people know that sometimes they're sharing deeper truths than they want to have outed at a party in a kitchen.
Well, we'd make it more private.
Like a sweet friend,
No, we would have little private sessions, but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, like my growth in dream work, and I'm going to get serious for a minute because my growth in dream work was to understand and to be able to be responsible for holding a safe container for people to tell about their genuine experiences in a dream. Mm-hmm. Because once they can take it serious in like, well, this was my experience and they start to dial it in, we really are able to uncover or like lock into place this meaningful symbolism for their waking life. And then they can use that going forward.
Continue. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm making sure my cat doesn't mark a place. Continue.
That's going to be background in your dream now, Melissa.
I know. I have a cat that likes to mark, so I have to move everything that is made of material so he doesn't mark anyway. Sorry, continue.
Making life. That's IRL, baby.
That's going to mark me in my dreams.
So part of the professionalism that I bring to the table is that I can take your dream experience with you seriously, for you if you can't, or with you until we can get to something meaningful and true for you, which then applies to your waking life because dreams are experiential.
Pam is not a dream dictionary. Pam is an interpreter that helps you with yours. Now, before we go, back seat in a car. If somebody's in the back seat of a car in their dreams, what does that mean?
It can mean that this is from your past because you are in the back. When you were a child, that's where you rode in the car, maybe for most people. It can reference something from your past. It can also mean that you are not only not in control of driving, but you're not an authority figure in the decision making. Like you're not sitting in the front seat where you can navigate and see everything coming at you from the front. You're relegated to the back seat of this issue.
That's something you really need to dive into.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing or a serious thing if you are a part of, a big corporation. They're making a big decision and maybe they're making the wrong decision, but you don't have any responsibility for it. That could be a great relief, or that could be a good. So there are many ways that can be a good thing that you're not part of the decision making.
Sweet Georgia Pam.
It's all dependent on specifics.
I'm telling you, sweetgeorgiapam.com. If you want a one-on-one session with Pam, she offers those. She also has a free downloadable guide for you called 6 Nights to Better Dream Recall. And don't forget to sign up for her newsletter at Sweet Georgia Pam. Exciting things coming in 2023, and you'll be the first to know and have access to things if you sign up for that newsletter at sweetgeorgiapam.com. Also, DM her on social media, just like our listener did. And we interpreted that dream and we expanded upon it. Sweet Georgia Pam is her handle. Until next time, my friend, I hope you have a great day.
Sweet dreams, everybody. Good night.